All right, welcome everybody. This morning we're going to be doing a lean business canvas. This is the first test on the product track. So this is how we determine what to continue working on, or really what to start working on in terms of products. So we're making a couple changes to our process. In the past, we've used this full lean business canvas to rate the idea, and basically each one of these categories gets a score from 0 to 2, and then we sum those up. And if they're greater than 9, then it passes. But what we realized is that not all these are independent. And we've also, what's the other thing we realized? They're not all independent, nor are they all useful for our particular case. So this is a lean business canvas for startups. We're not necessarily trying to start a company here. We're not thinking about the team. We're not thinking about the fit. What we're really trying to evaluate is the idea. So things like channels or key metrics are not the most useful for us because we're aiming to evaluate the idea, not the actual business that exists. So
yeah, and lean canvases, they want to make sure there's no blind spots. So it means that there's repeat, there's things that are dependent on each other, which is okay for what the canvas is used for, but we're using it for something a little bit different. So it's really important for us to not have them be dependent on each other.
Yes, exactly. We want these to be independent metrics. And, honestly, we were still experimenting with what is going to work exactly, but this is our attempt for right now. So our idea for this week is there's a lack of good info about local restaurants. We had this idea while reading Noise by Daniel Kahneman. Basically, the problem is that it's a mapping problem. So not everyone has the same mapping for 0 to 5 stars. So for example, I might think a 5-star restaurant has to be a Michelin restaurant, while Neil just thinks a 5-star restaurant doesn't have cockroaches or something. So he could rate McDonald's a 5-star, and I could rate it a 1-star, even though really we think the food is about of the same quality. We just have a different scale for what is a 5-star and what is a 3-star. So what we're imagining is using comparison, so forcing people to compare. That reduces noise, that makes things more consistent. And in addition, breaking things down into smaller categories. So instead of just saying 0 to 5 stars, you could say food, cleanliness, blah, 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 and have people rate those. So that's the idea. And I guess we can dive in and start writing this problem down. So
yeah,
mark this up. So the problem is, I want to change this to a white text. Let's make this 50 point. It's very sticky, the text settings here. Okay, so the problem is how can we, I think there's a better way to word this than there's a lack of info about good restaurants. Like current rating systems for restaurants are not accurate, right? Or well, really,
a lot of noise.
Yeah. Nosy. That'd be fun. They're very nosy. I really need to shrink that down. Existing alternatives. This is a good question.
I believe some rating systems have started to break it down, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so what's the price and what's yada yada yada.
Oh, you're right. That's an interesting.
Also, like on Google, so Google Maps, they'll in the comments they'll find keywords.
Oh,
right. So if people all say expensive, that will be a keyword that it recommends.
yeah. Which reviews are very unreliable, which is kind of interesting and another problem. But hi Blue. That is my dog. Thank you, young man, for letting me know.
Are you sure you're not growling?
Yeah. Neil, I've never considered that, and I blame Blue, but maybe it's Maybe it's a subconscious reaction. I don't know if that would be worrying or nice because it's in my control. So our solution is like ranked comparison.
Mhm.
And
I
then,
think like the best solution would be rank comparison on various submetrics.
mm, mhm. Like price.
Yep, yep. So the system would ask you, what is cheaper, McDonald's or Burger King? And you would say McDonald's. What is tastier, McDonald's or Subway? And you would, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Like Leo's is one of the most expensive restaurants in Grand Rapids. Like that would rank a lot higher than Electric Cheetah, even
mhm,
rank higher than, yeah. We're not doing key metrics, are we?
correct.
Are doing unique value proposition.
Yes.
Um, the unique value proposition is like a simpler way to decide on restaurants, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Well, a consistent, like really, it's the consistency of,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
noise reduction play.
which,
And then I don't know, like we have, gamification. Like could that be part of our UVP?
well, yeah, I think that would be fascinating. Is kind of doing this the same way CAPTCHA does for machine learning,
Mhm,
like basically make a game that has you rate restaurants, and then and then turn that into, turn that game
mhm.
into, yeah, real ratings. So we could make a fun game. I think a really interesting MVP is like Tinder for restaurants,
Mhm.
and then kind of covertly we're using a ranking, like we're ranking stuff behind the scenes and trying to figure out a ranking algorithm.
Yeah.
So maybe the consistent, maybe it's not that, maybe it's like simple. If we're doing that gamification, it's like simple, easy way to choose restaurants,
Mhm.
like in the restaurant argument.
Yeah.
High level I like that as a high level concept. That's really the problem. Or the,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just want that on there somewhere. I'm putting it there. I like that. High level concepts. We are
Uh,
the blank of blank.
well, I mean, we are the Tinders of restaurants.
Oh my God. Yeah. What was it?
You have it written in.
You always come up with a high level concept. Even if I've come up with it, I forget.
You forget it's on your screen.
Yeah. We're the Tinder of restaurants.
Okay.
Um,
And then we want to rate these now, right?
yeah, you're right. You're right. That was another thing we learned, is that kind of if we rate things like all at the end, then we end up being biased by all the rest of what we've thought about. So trying to break it up into chunks a little bit. It means our bias and noise will increase as we go, but we'll take it smaller than the other way. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I give it a 1.
I give it a 2. So we get a 1.5 here.
I feel like that's fair.
I know. I feel like 1.5 is actually probably just the right 1.5. All right. Now next is what channels and customer segments.
Yeah, sure.
So let's figure this out. I want to go back to my white text. Um, Channel is interesting.
Let's start with customer segments.
Yes. Okay. So I think families. I remember it's very hard to choose among families, and I can imagine my family would have loved a list
Mhm.
of directly comparing restaurants instead of just being like, well, do we go to let's look on, well, before Google it was even worse. I don't
Mhm.
know, maybe it was better, maybe it was simpler, but yeah. Friend groups.
I think, well, yeah, it's groups, just in general.
Yeah.
But then it's also people who are new to an area or looking for a new restaurant.
And then like, yeah, our early adopters. I don't know that early adopters is that useful. I
Well,
think these might be our early adopters. What do you think?
yeah, I'm guessing it'd be like young professionals,
I think
young professionals in a new area.
yeah, yeah, maybe that, yeah. Young professionals in new area. Yeah. Oh, not three S's. In a new area. Okay. And then our channels. I think the App Store. So I was looking at that app we released. How often do you think about it?
Mhm.
That thing gets 1,000 impressions a month. So 1,000
Huh.
people see that app every month with literally no effort on our part.
Yeah.
Product Hunt is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think we should add in a big city. Like we'd want to launch in a big city, like Los Angeles, probably, which is convenient.
Uh-huh.
What else would you say?
I don't know, advertising on a social media. I don't know if that's like LinkedIn.
Well, that's an interesting question. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think that is it. Or wait,
For those two, yes.
yes, you're right. All right, those two ones. Let's. Are you ready to vote?
I'm ready to vote. Not ready. Okay, I'm ready to vote.
What's your vote?
My vote is a 1.
That was my vote as well.
Yeah, I feel
All right.
yeah.
Bad. I would love more clarity around it, but
Yep.
especially channels. I feel like customer segments is pretty good. Channel. How do we get to
Yep.
the people?
Although I feel like the early adopters, we could really hone in and try to own that market.
That's true. Yeah. Hmm. Unfair advantage.
This we're doing levers, right? Basically, why is this the perfect time?
Oh, yeah. Um, hmm. Why is this the perfect time? There's like widely available data. And then like right now there's just so much data out. I think the other thing um that we have an advantage of is we can build an app for this.
Yeah,
Like,
but we're looking at not team agnostic.
well, no. I mean
Oh,
like Google Maps has food by accident. Apple Maps has food by accident, right? Not
mm-hmm.
by accident. It's not the primitive. Like
Yep.
restaurants are the primitive.
Mm-hmm.
And like Yelp is Yelp is doing payment, really honestly, and they're doing reviews. They're not doing really choosing in the sense, like they're privileged
Uh-huh.
for a review. It's not really a restaurant. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's our advantage. And I think it'd be hard for them to pivot unless they could create a mode.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just blow up your whole user interface.
Yeah. No, I think
I don't know.
I'm guessing it's like people are getting tired of like the abundance of data and need it synthesized well.
Yep. Well, that gives a real advantage because I think it would be easy. I hope it would be easy to grab a bunch of data on restaurants and populate this and just make it work.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be super easy to just say, okay, let me grab all the restaurants in Grand Rapids and try this. I think I
Yeah.
want to try this with you. I think this would be fun.
Yeah, I think, it could, in a small to medium-sized city, it'd be pretty easy to get like, it's got the network effect, right? Where you can easily dominate a small network
Yeah,
and then give all the value to that area and then let it grow.
yeah. All right. Let's rate our unfair advantage. I think I've got my rating.
I'll give it a 1.
That's what I was gonna do too. All right. Cost structure. I don't know. It'd be just like hosting fees, right? Really?
Hosting fees, advertising.
Yeah, advertising, I suppose. Advertising. I don't know. Is there anything
And
beyond?
then if any money is needed um to get going,
Like, how do you mean?
um like at the start you might want to kickstart it with like, hey, we need to get people uh um on, so then offer some incentives.
Um, revenue
Which I
stream.
guess is sort of advertising, but
Yeah, it's like a slightly different.
yep.
Revenue streams. I think we could have advertising from restaurants, right? We could do
Do you
affiliate.
think people would pay? Would people be pissed if they had to pay for the service?
I don't think so. I would probably pay for something like this if it were $1 at price. Think of any other ways we could make cash.
No, that's about it.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know what you want to rate it?
Yep.
What are you gonna say?
Oh, you first.
A 1.
Yeah, I give it a 1.
So that gives us 4.5, which is passing by the skin of
Pass.
its teeth, which I'm very grateful for because I actually am like I hadn't thought about this idea in a long time, and
I
I'm
kind of like it.
I'm pretty psyched about it. I think. Oh wait, we want it to be green because it's passed.
We also want it to be 10,000 point font.
Oh yeah, you're right. Of course. Why wouldn't we want 10,000 point font? Only the 10,000 point font can really express our love for this. So now we're on to a lab, right?
Yep.
And I am gonna spare you from our random updates that we're doing. Thank you so much for joining us. That has been our Lean Business Canvas. You will be seeing this idea as a lab someday. How exciting! You're here at the ground level. All right, that's all we've got, folks. Have a good one.